Welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Brought to you by Friend Entertainment USA, producing the best concerts for charities and corporations for over 30 years. And CBMS Consulting Services, control your business before it controls you. In association with Area 22 Productions, your multimedia streaming network. Now, here is Darren and the Music Man.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. We'll let you decide who Darren is and who the Music Man is tonight. Right, Darren?
Right, Music Man.
Oh, I gave it up.
You gave it away.
Well, anyway, it's a beautiful day here in New York. For those of you that are not in New York, too bad. It's beautiful, and I'm sure if you're out in San Diego, the weather is nice and beautiful out there.
I thought we weren't
well.
talking about weather anymore.
No, we're not talking about weather. We're talking about San Diego.
San
Saying
Diego,
that the weather
okay.
is always nice
It's always nice in San Diego.
right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
So, Darren.
Yes, sir.
That's you, right?
So did you have a good 4th of July?
What I remember of it.
I had a great 4th, and then we had a family party over the weekend, which we had a fantastic time. A lot of people. We had a great time. It was absolutely wonderful weekend.
I got to play with grandchildren.
Well, that's, you know what?
Which is always a great thing.
I got a lot of nieces and great nephews and great nieces and all that other stuff that I got to play with too. So we had a great time this weekend, and I'm glad that you had a good 4th.
Yeah, it's good.
You know,
we
so
lived through it, and it was all good. And that's it. We got a great guest tonight.
A fantastic guest.
We kind of know him personally.
Well, it's we
use his services.
If it wasn't for him, people would know about us.
That's true.
Right? If you think about it.
All 6 or 7 people that are aware of who we are is all due to this gentleman. That's right.
That's it.
By the way, I use that on stage too.
I know.
It works all the time.
I know.
Because when I'm on stage and there's nobody in the theater because the guy doesn't, advertise the show, I go and I do that. So this is all rehearsed anyway. So Patrick Trzcienski.
Hello.
Am I saying it correct?
That is correct.
That's it.
From Designstudio.
Yes.
TZ Design.
Yep.
TZ Design.
And what the heck does TZ Designstudio do?
Well, so Designstudio, we are a web and app and SEO company. We've been.
You mean mobile app?
Mobile app, yes. So we do the mobile web, we do the mobile apps, and we do the websites as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, as you guys know, being entrepreneurs and business owners yourself, you know how important the mobile web is, particularly here on Long Island. There's, I think it's at this point about a 90% adoption rate where people all have smartphones. Typically, web traffic at this point on Long Island, you're looking at about 65, 67% of your traffic is going to be coming through the phone or the tablet.
One of the things I'm noticing is more and more students are not using computers anymore. They're using their smartphones or tablets to do their homework and take care of all that stuff, because it seems like everything's online now.
Everything's online, everything's cloud-based, and so as much as a convenience as that is, there's a lot more security that's involved. We had issues last week where we were working with a couple of clients. People were trying to get into their stuff from Russia, from China, from Southeast Asia.
Well, they were just saying today on the news that Russia's going to be able to hack into our midterm elections. Yep. In my head, I went, no duh. They've been doing it all along. It's not going to change.
Well, didn't you tell me I got hacked?
No.
It was a week or two ago.
We didn't get hacked, but what we could do is we can actually see that there's ping is the term, that someone's trying to get into the server that's not supposed to get into the server. So thank God we have security and all of the stuff is locked down. But it is something that, maybe 5 years ago for small business owners, you didn't really have to worry about that. If you're online now, you have to worry about it.
We're going to worry about something else.
We're going to do something else.
You know where I'm going, right?
Right.
Go there.
So one of the things that always interests me, Patrick, as you know, I'm a business coach,
Sure.
And I always want to know, how did you get here? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm going to use one of Norm's lines. When you were hanging out on the playground, when you were a kid, were you sitting there going, I'm going to be an internet guy, I'm going to do websites?
Well, it's a pretty funny story because I was very...
Get ready, everybody, to laugh.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Get the laugh track ready. So growing up, I was very blessed. I was very good at sports, but my real love was my VIC-20 and my Commodore 64. So the reason that I didn't get beat up and get wedgies and get thrown in lockers when I first went to high school was because I was pretty good in sports. So the seniors
You're also
actually
pretty big.
Well, they protected me. So I had bodyguards that protected me from the football team and from the basketball team in particular. So I didn't get as much grief as the other nerds that were up in the, back then there was just one computer lab. There was maybe 10 computers at St. Dominic's at that time.
Square
Yeah,
things.
you had the little square. The monitor was as big as the table here.
And you wrote in DOS.
There was MS-DOS,
Right.
10 print name, 20 go to 10.
Exactly. Yeah, we all learned on that. Right?
It was a love of mine, and I was very fortunate. I had another business before I started doing this full time. I had a personal training studio for 13 years. And
So you stayed the athlete.
yeah, I could not get rid of it. I think, honestly, guys, one of the things that is a true love of mine is just to help people get better, whether it's technology, whether it was eating right, whether it was exercising. So between the two fields that I worked through in my adult life, one was helping people get, stay strong and feel good physically, and now it's more, with the technology, because everything's changing so fast, and everything is, by the time we're done with this interview, there's going to be 1,000 new things we could do for the websites, for the apps, for the SEO. So I love staying on top of that stuff. I'm very fortunate. I have guys that work for me who love the same thing. They
And
eat,
they're really
breathe.
good.
So,
and really
so
nice.
when you got out of high school, right, what was your next step?
So I went to Molloy College,
Okay, and what did you study? At
psychology.
Okay, so something completely off track from.
But you know what? It was still helping people.
Right.
I still love to help people, regardless of what arena it's in. So I went to Molloy. I thought I was actually going to teach. And at that point, I had been doing the personal training just as a one-on-one trainer on the side, and it just exploded. So I had a whole bunch of clients at a gym that I worked for in Huntington, and the opportunity arose where I got to start my own place. So I kind of put the whole school and
Tell the
psychology
story. It was a very funny story about judging people when they walk into a room. The fellow that didn't want to take the client. This is a good. I don't know if you know.
Well,
this is good.
I think this would be a life lesson for everybody, regardless of what field you're in. So we started the personal training studio. I had my best friend was working with me to get started. We had a couple of other young up-and-comer trainers that were on board. And what happened is people would come in interested in our services, and people, I think human nature, you would tend to look at someone and be like, oh, he doesn't have the money to keep doing this, or he's not going to be serious, or whatever. So one of the younger guys, we gave him his first shot to approach the potential customer, introduced himself, and the guy was, he wasn't the friendliest, let's say. He said something to the effect of, listen, I'm going to come here, I'm going to book 5 days a week. I'm going to book a half hour. I may never show up, but I want this half hour. I'm going to pay for it. Can you fit me in? So the young man who was working for me, he was, I think, thrown off a little bit by this, and he came over to me and he's like, sir, my schedule in the morning's booked. Let me see if Patrick has anything. So being the business owner, I said, I will make room for you.
Of course.
I put the guy in. We became very good friends. He was actually turned into a business mentor of mine. He was a tremendous real estate guy. Taught me a ton about business and money and investing. But what ended up happening was he came 5 days a week. His wife then came 5 days a week. His 3 kids came 5 days a week. His 2 soccer teams, I started coaching.
Teams. Not players,
Training 2
teams.
teams. So the moral of the story is not to obviously judge people
By their cover.
Well,
by the
you can't judge a book by its cover. You gotta get to know them, right?
Yep.
And that's what sells people. You took the time to get to know the guy, make the
It's
connection.
rapport building.
And once you make that connection, then it just blossoms from
Yep.
there.
By chance, did you keep him as a client when you changed and got into your current business?
Yeah, so what started to happen was we were very fortunate because we were up on the North Shore. We were in Northport and Centerport, so it was a kind of well-to-do areas. So we were never really affected by the economy, whether the economy was great, before 2000, dot-com
Those
crash.
people always had money to
They
spend.
always had the 40 or 50 bucks to come, a couple of times a week. So what started to happen is I had built out all of the stuff for the personal training studio. I had computers in there. I started doing my own website. I started organizing schedules and stuff. This is back in like 2006, 7, 8, 9.
What was the name
type
of it?
thing. It was Thorough Fit Personal Training Studio.
Thorough Fit.
Yep. So what started to happen is the people who came to us as clients, they were fairly well-to-do people. They were either successful business owners themselves, or maybe they were higher up on the chain in a medium-sized or a larger business. So when they saw what I was building for the gym, they started to say, hey, can you do this for my business? So I started to slowly get customers that way. So over the course of time, we had built up the gym. It was doing great. And I had started doing the computers, almost full time. So I was able to sell the gym. And I moved right into technology. And at that point, I had about a good 30 years of, wear and tear on my body as I was working out like a maniac all through the time I had the gym. And my life almost came full circle. I love the computers. I love sports. I stayed with sports. I did sports as my first career, and then I came back to the computers.
When did you start TZ?
TZ, it was officially started in 2012 as its own company.
So that's about the time that I met you. Because
what
we were in
happened-
a networking group together.
Yep.
Right? We were friendly, but
Sure.
we really didn't do any business at that particular time.
Yep.
And I know at that time you were starting, or you were really getting involved at that time in mobile apps.
Correct.
So before we get into the mobile app piece of it, because I know that's where you want to go in that. So what I'm hearing, and it's because again, the coach in me wants everybody to understand the process you went through.
Sure.
And that ending up where you are, you, unlike a lot of entrepreneurs that we have on the show is, we'll ask them, how did you end up doing this? And it kind of just fell in their lap. It wasn't something they were thinking about. This career that you have now has been a passion of yours your whole life, or since you were a young man,
6 years
right?
old. Yep.
Okay.
I remember pleading with my grandparents, to kick in $50 for my Vic 20.
Okay.
I was going to be their butler for a year to
Right.
get the Vic 20.
So you were able to take your passion, and you actually had the idyllic life so far, where you got to, make your careers out of two of your different passions.
Yep.
Right? So you had the sports, and
Sure.
now the computers. You did that for a time. You were able to transition in. Now, was there a plan? When you said, okay, obviously you set up the systems with, the sports thing. You said that, right? You had systems in
Yep.
place. Everything was running, so you didn't have to be there, and you started working on the computer stuff.
Yep.
Was there a plan, or when you had that point where you said, "Okay, this is it. I'm going to now make the cutover."
Yep.
Did you have a plan in place on doing the
I have-
cutover, or was it just something that I said, "You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to go and figure it out"?
I have to be honest, in all transparency, it was actually my health took a little bit of a downturn.
Okay.
I had worked. I love working. I've
I
been a
can vouch
worker-
for that.
I've been a worker since I've been a little boy, and what happened is all those years at the gym, I had a liver infection, and I had to take some time off.
Okay.
So really, what happened at that point is I relied on one of the people that worked at the gym with me for many years, and they kept it going. They were a real blessing and a
Right.
real help. But that, I almost look at it as being as a God believer, was what got me full-time into the computers. Because it was one of those things, guys, where I'm sure, like, once you start something and you start building
So
it,
you had a
don't want to.
life-changing event.
Correct. And both of my parents are pastors, so I am a believer, and I just know that it was God's way of saying, you're out of here now, and it's
Right.
time to move on. And when I look back on my life, it was one of those things where, I was able to help a small community of people, And really what we're doing now with the technology with a lot of our church and non-for-profit clients is we're able to help a lot more people.
Right.
The circle has definitely gotten wider. And I think
You think?
I think being a stubborn person that I am, is that I would have tried to hang on to the gym. You know, I could do both, and it just wasn't going to work.
For those of you out there that are listening to this story, and if you happen to be a religious person or not a religious person, Patrick client base, and this is one of the reasons why we hooked up, in addition to the fact that I needed some SEO and marketing work severely, and have my website redone, even though I had it redone, but that's another story for another time. His client base, if I'm not mistaken, 1,400 churches?
Well, we built something for New York City, and it put us in the foreground of somebody who wanted to use that technology and kind of spread the gospel throughout the whole country. So it's just been a tremendous blessing.
But say what it is that you're doing, because there are people out there that, by the way, they're going to want to get in touch with you. So what phone number do they reach you at if they want to call?
Well, so I'm going to just give out my cell number so that we don't miss the phone calls. It's 631-747-3646.
Do it again.
631-747-3646. And the opportunity that was presented to us is we've made a little niche for ourselves where we've built a system where we could sell a website and an app, a mobile app, to a customer. And our little niche is the back end, you can update both from one place. So you can log in through your browser, and if you have a welcome paragraph on your homepage of the website and you have a welcome paragraph in your app, you can type up, hey, welcome to Patrick's Web Design. You know, his mom thinks he's wonderful. Hit save, and it updates on the website and it updates in the app. So you're only learning one system. It's very easy to use. It's a lot easier to use than WordPress. And we're able to sell it at a price point where churches can afford it, small businesses can afford it, and it's very easy to maintain.
That was one of the challenges. That was one of the challenges I had a few years ago. I had a WordPress site, and it was making me bonkers trying to update it all the time because it seemed like it didn't take when I did stuff, or it would come out all crazy and things like that. So you and I were discussing this before the show. One of the things that I want to do is now, as a coach, develop my app.
Sure.
And get that out there, and you and I are going to have those discussions starting tomorrow.
And that's a wonderful opportunity.
Now you're also doing the Bible online, correct? Aren't you? Don't you have a service that will actually put on your app?
We're very fortunate. We work with American Bible Society. They have tremendous backing, and they have tremendous infrastructure. So those types of entities, they develop their own Bible app, and they develop their own workbooks, and they develop their own devotionals, and they're kind enough then to share it with people like us, that we would use it in good faith and promote it with our things. And they've been a tremendous blessing to us, and Christ for All Peoples has been a tremendous blessing for us.
That's fantastic.
Do you anything for Moses?
I probably have to talk to my dad.
Not direct.
Wrong Bible.
I fix hardware. My parents do software.
Right? Big time.
Well,
We used to have a big-
no. Moses
Moses
isn't a Christian Bible too. We have the Old and the New Testament.
No, I get it.
We just have the Old.
But Moses had a big. Well, I was the one that counts. I was made yours. So just remember.
I was made yours.
That all being said, which we got off the subject completely, the work that you do, like we hooked up, and it's a free service. You analyze somebody's website, and very honestly, and like you said, you're a man of God, you say either it's good, leave it alone, or it's not. Now, I will talk about myself. I had my website redone 3 or 4 months prior to you. It wasn't worth, things were not right. We run into each other. I said, can you take a look at this? You say, sure. And I don't know how to tell you this, Norm, but you're not getting this and you're not getting that, and you're not, I don't know if the word is certified or something with the new HTTP.
Yeah, well, the HTTPS is, we've been inundated the last couple of weeks.
And I'm sure people out there don't even understand that.
Well, so...
let's talk about that because, For those of you who do not know, right? If you go to bphdmm.com, which is the Business
That's gotta
Power Hour with
change. You gotta
Darren and the
change that.
Music
We just
Man.
got it up and live.
Okay.
We're still fine tuning.
All right, we're still fine tuning
Gotta
it.
change that.
But Patrick and his team actually created that site for us, which is a fantastic site. And we had that issue where I had to go get the SSL certificate
Sure.
for us to get that on the site. Remember?
Yep.
So, we had that conversation.
One of the things now is Google into June and July is kind of their cutoff date. They're still going to give us all some wiggle room, but they
Right.
have been promoting for 18 months that your site needs to be HTTPS going forward, particularly on Chrome. Safari's following, Firefox is following. And what's going to start to happen is if your site's not HTTPS, you may have an alert that comes up when someone comes to your homepage. This site may not be who they say they are. It's going to cover the forms and say this form may not be going where it say it's going. So, of course, we have been promoting it to our clients for the last 18 months, and no one answered an email till last week.
Until last week, and everybody goes. And I can tell you this: don't wait. Do it sooner than later, because there is a certification process that you have to go through.
Correct.
And they're very strict. There was one website that had an old phone number for my company on it, and they wouldn't accept it until I got that website updated.
Well, there's that, and if you have certifications, if you're involved with any type of insurance and those types of things. But the HTTPS is at this point a necessity. It's going to start to affect your rankings in search engines.
Which was an issue I had,
Yep.
and that was part of the fixing of that particular problem.
It was one of those. And another big thing, guys, is if you're collecting money online.
Right.
Even people that are not techie people, they're going to start to know to look for the little padlock in the browser,
Well,
the title there.
PayPal won't even accept payments from sites that are not HTTPS anymore.
So you have that issue. And the other thing, just to get a little bit on the nerdy side is, something else that people may not be aware of is even if your site's HTTPS and you're pulling in stuff that's not HTTPS, let's say you're streaming some video that's not YouTube, or you're streaming some audio, maybe a show or whatever, that also needs to be HTTPS as well.
Right. So
important.
everything has to be locked up and secured.
It
now,
has
right?
to be, because you're really going to start to nosedive in the
All right.
rankings.
So security is a very important thing, and Patrick does a fantastic, and his team does a fantastic job with that. And they basically work 24/7. These guys, they're always working. I get
It's
updates
busy.
in the middle of the night.
And
Yeah,
then they get pain in the ass clients like me,
right.
who will say, "Hey, I need this yesterday."
Yesterday.
Or how come you didn't call me back? Or you were supposed to give me a buzz and fix this. Oh, you said this was going to be up online. Or whatever.
And
So-
even says you're a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
it's-
but I admit to it.
it's-
I agree. You pay these premium rates.
right.
You got to make sure that you get premium
It'll
service.
be on his pop-up tomorrow.
Oh, do I get a pop-up? I didn't even know I
You
get
will
one.
now.
Increase.
There we go. So, Patrick, with all of that said, security is important and all that other stuff. Here's what I want to discuss, and where I think the trends are going, right, is everybody's getting their own app.
Sure.
And you see everybody and their mothers advertising, I can create your app, and we can do this.
my
And I've been
God.
approached by so many companies, all right,
Yep.
to say, hey, I'll develop an app for you. And until you and I sat down, and, we had that one meeting when we first got together, and you started explaining to me the process and things like that, and I said,
Sure.
I'm really not ready for an app yet, but I'm there now, so I got to start developing my app so I can get my content out.
Sure.
Tell me about what the trends are and why more and more people going to the apps.
Well, there's a couple of interesting trends that have developed in the last 8 months from our perspective. So we started doing what's called native apps, and those are apps that you would download from the iTunes Store or from Google Play, the Google version of the iTunes Store. And there was a lot of work to be put in to develop for something like that. There's actually a waiting period from iTunes where you may have to wait a couple of days, and when they're busy, maybe even a couple of weeks for the app to get approved. So that was our first round of apps about 2 years ago. What we've noticed in the market currently now is there's going to be, in our perspective, a shift from native apps to what are called progressive web apps. And the difference is the progressive web app actually runs through the browser of your phone. So if you're on an Android phone, you're going to be most likely using Chrome or the native browser. And then you'll be using Safari on the iTunes side. But the progressive web app has a lot less loopholes to get through. There's no iTunes store.
What does that mean, progressive web app?
So the progressive web app is actually running through your browser. It's not being downloaded from the App Store.
So explain to everybody, how does an app work? You know, when somebody says, oh, I got this app and I get all this information from the app, is all of that stuff, is it like a computer where you're downloading the app and all the data's coming with it?
Yeah,
and all
you're
that other
actually
stuff?
downloading the shell. And every time you turn the app on, it's updating as the app is loading.
So the app is actually going out to the internet, grabbing the information that you're looking for that's part of the app, and then bringing it back to your phone.
Correct.
Is that what my app does? My mobile app?
You have what we would call more of a mobile website.
Okay.
So an app would be, there's again 2 stages.
So is there
of
a
app.
difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. So maybe if I could backtrack to
Go
what
ahead.
the
Sure.
main difference is. So if you just had a mobile website versus an app, whether it's the progressive web app or the native app from the App Store, the big difference is, in our view, is when you have a mobile website, you're hoping the client either finds you through social media or heard about you, or they Google search you and you pop up. With the app, the big difference is you're able to send out the push notifications to your clients. So where you're hoping on the website people come and find you, with the app, once you get that on people's phones, you know, whether through social media or even promoting it on your own website, is the ability to send out push notifications to people. So now you've actually reversed the direction.
So explain the
of
push
conversation.
notification, right?
Push notifications on the Apple side are when I send Norm a "I'm busy now, I'll call you later" text. He has a bubble pop up on his phone that says,
Oh, I send that to him all the time.
So does Laura, so does everybody else.
so the bubble pops up on your home screen. So you see you got a text message from Patrick. Now, the difference between a MailChimp and a push notification is almost about 70% on the open rate. Almost 80-something% of people acknowledge
for
the push
those
notification.
of us who don't know what MailChimp is,
Sure.
right? I know what but MailChimp, and correct me if I'm wrong, is an email system where you can send out broadcast emails to thousands of people at a time, right?
To all your people.
To all your people, everybody that's
in your community.
opt
For a
into
very
your
low
list,
or no cost.
right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
MailChimp's great to get
like
started.
I use iContact.
Yep.
Another
one.
Yeah, you have a bunch of different ones. So with those, I actually have to go in and go, here's the email I want to send out, and
Just
send it.
a
right?
fair amount of setup. You're testing a template. You're going to proofread it. You're going to do the several stages that you need to make sure you have a successful campaign. But with the push notification, I'm just sending a text message to everybody who has the app. I can remind them that I'm going to be on TV tonight. I can remind them
So
that
it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that, but it's so much more robust than a regular text message, because when I send this push notification out to everybody, and I can have that notification instruct people, not just as a reminder or as a notification. It could say something to the effect of, click here and open up the app, and my app-only coupon is available to my VIP customers. So now if you have a restaurant, if you have a pizzeria,
That's what we're doing.
if you have a nail salon, a hair salon, you're now sending out messages. Concerts. You're sending a message out to everybody. It's not just, hey, here's a reminder, but there's something special there for you. That could be an app-only deal. So not just the push notifications now, we're able to track all of that. I could tell you customer 1 opened up that thing 12 times and looked at different pages in the app. Customer 2 went to the push notification 3 times. So what you start to do is you can create dossiers almost on your
So you see
VIP
really what's
customers.
working. So let's, and you and I haven't had deep discussions about this yet, but we talked about creating an app for me, right? And the coaching services and things like that. So if I have different offerings, or if I do a push notification, I got a seminar coming up, you would be able to tell me, who opened it up.
Yep. How many times
How
they
many
opened
times
it
they
up.
looked at it? Did they, from that point, did they take the action step that I asked them to
Sure.
take?
Yep.
Did they sign up? Did they, did they look at it? Did they forward it to somebody?
And now the difference is between this and the website, there are analytics out there that will do that for you on the website.
Right.
It's a complicated setup, there's cost involved, there's monthly costs involved, but with the app, there's none of that.
Right.
It's just coming because you have the app and you own the app, that sort of thing. So you're able to find out who your VIP customers are, and then you can actually send specific people specific deals.
Right.
So like, let's say you had someone who signed up for all of your online app classes, and now you're starting class number 11. You can just let him know that it's available, or you can give it to him for 50% off because he bought all of the other ones.
Right.
So you could really target who your VIP customers
So
are.
I can go out and say, hey, because you're one of my best customers, I'm going to give you, you're going to get an additional discount.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And you see that, because I get those every once in a while. I get those on, well, because you're one of our best customers, we're going to do this and that. And I sit there and go, yeah, I am a pretty good customer of yours, but you're sending this to everybody. That's my thought process is going on. But what you're telling me that's not the case.
That's not the case. Look, you can market it that way, because look, Jennifer and I are big Vitamin Shop users. I get 2 or 3.
Jennifer? Who's Jennifer?
Jennifer is my lovely, lovely wife. I love her dearly, and she's the VIP.
Is she watching in right now?
She's probably working.
She'll be watching it on the replay, right?
So she's
So sweet of you to say that about me, honey.
she's VIP. She kind of runs the office.
Yeah,
and
she's
does,
the bomb. She's
yeah,
really
the
No,
sales team.
there's no kind of. She runs the office.
She runs the office. I make sure the stuff works.
Right, there you go.
So we make a great team. And, but getting back to the Vitamin Shop, I consider myself a VIP customer there. I get a nice discount with the things that come via email. I get my little reward bonus card at the end of the quarter. But now people can emulate that if they're an entrepreneur and they just have a business consulting thing.
Right.
You don't need a $100,000 budget to make an app anymore. These are all designed to be price points for small business guys,
Right.
medium business guys.
Exactly, and it's one of the things. By having the app, it makes it affordable. Number one, for everybody to be able to do it. It's like anything, right? When apps first came out, it was like you had to have this huge budget, just like websites. Back in the '90s, when websites were first starting to pop up, you had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get a website up. Now you can go and you can get a website up for next to nothing, right? I mean, literally, this technology is just going so far back. But you said something I want to key in on.
Sure.
Again, I'm always trying to show that we're learning and stuff, right? You spoke about your lovely wife, right? And she runs a different part of your business.
Yes.
Right? She makes the back end happen, so you don't have to worry about.
Oh, she makes the front end happen so he can make the back end.
Well, she makes the back, what we call the back end, because she's running the office, she's paying the bills, she's making sure all of that stuff happens. Where you're making sure the delivery of the product is happening. Am I correct in that assumption? Right.
100%
Where she's running the and you have different jobs, and it's so important to have somebody who can do the things you can't do. Right.
Oh, it's just a
And don't
tremendous
wanna do.
blessing.
And don't want to do, right?
Yep.
And it's a lot of people start out going, I'm just getting started. I can't afford to bring somebody on. There are a lot of different ways that you can be resourceful if you don't have the resources in order to fill those roles and fill those things. Companies like mine and companies like, there are a lot of different companies out there that you don't have to hire somebody full-time. You don't have to do all that stuff.
Correct.
But it's so important that you focus on building your business and not doing the whole business, right?
But that was one of
working
the-
on the business, not in the business.
That was one of the things you asked me. You said, how much of this stuff do you want to do?
Yep.
I said, I don't.
Yep.
I don't want. Well, why not? I said, because I want to be out selling and talking to clients, and it's worth it for me. I do the same thing with accounting and bookkeeping and whatever. And people
before
ask,
he sends a bill out, he calls me up and says, "How much do you want to do?" Because I'm going to send the bill out, and I know I'm going to hear Norm. And
actually, I'm a pretty good payer. All right.
Very prompt. He doesn't even make it to the 3-day receivables. They're all in there.
I'm there, babe. That's it. Look, you work for me.
Yep.
Okay, and I see the difference is I know you care because you show that you care. You explain things. It's not just, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It's
but
important.
it's a trust factor
Sure.
that even though I'm paying for it, I mean, I believe I get a fair deal on what it is. Nothing crazy. It's fair.
Yep.
And you make it easy for me to go out and do my business and not have to worry.
Yep. Well, thank you for that. And honestly, that's how I was raised.
Well, and it goes, and that's a very important point. We're getting a lot of lessons in here today. And I talk about this with my clients all the time, is that people don't buy what you're selling. People buy you.
Of course.
Okay? When you sit in front of a client and you pitch a client, what a lot of people don't realize, sometimes they don't get, is that when you pitch a client, they're looking at you. They're hearing everything that you're saying. They need whatever you're selling because they wouldn't be sitting there.
Sure.
But if you don't get the deal, it's because of you and your inability to make that connection, because it's all about the connection, right? Yep. The first time we met, you left and he's like, "What do you think?" I said, "Great guy,
Awesome.
guy that
Thank
we
you.
want to work with," because you made the connection. And every interaction that you and I had after that, you understood we really didn't know each other.
Yep.
So you were very deliberate about making sure that I understood you were doing everything in the best interest of us, and you weren't just there just to
And it
collect
wasn't
money
a
from us.
story.
Yep.
Right.
You tell it just like it is, so you don't have to worry what you told somebody else.
Yeah.
Your story is the same. This is what it is. This is what we do. This is how we can help, and that's all.
I'm very blessed with Jennifer. I just want to give her 30 seconds of kudos. She has been a lifelong retail specialist. She's worked at Tiffany's, Bergdorf Goodman, Saks Fifth Avenue, and they would bring in Jennifer when the sales were down and to work with all of the VIP clients. Tom Hanks would come in. She got him his whatever for his wife. Hillary Clinton came in. She got her earrings for when she was speaking next. So Jennifer is an expert, with sales and working
Could
with
you put her on my
customers.
account then?
Yeah, why are we dealing with you? Why are we dealing with Jennifer?
Really, what's the point?
I don't want her to leave.
We get emails from Jennifer, but we don't get to deal with that. That's it. Yeah, here's your bill.
Or Patrick could be running late.
Yeah. And if I could give another 30 seconds, I'm very blessed with a business mentor who's had 2 very successful businesses. He's in his 80s now. So everything that comes up in my day where you're like, I can't do this anymore and I want to jump off the bridge, he's dealt with these types of things for 50 years. And when I call him up, I'm already hysterical crying. And he's laughing at me saying, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to do. This is what will happen next. And then this is going to end up like this.
You are like a dream guest because you're setting me up perfectly. Okay, because one of the things I do talk about, and in my book I talk about it, is having a mentor.
Oh,
right?
necessity.
Making sure, look, you need somebody to bounce things off of.
Yep.
Even if it's not somebody who's very, very experienced or anything like that, but a coach, right?
Sure.
Go back to the sports thing.
Yep.
You had a business where people came to you because they said, I want to be healthy, I just need somebody to help me be healthy.
Sure.
Same thing in business. You need somebody to help you be a healthy business owner.
You have
and
to.
that's a coach. And sometimes it's just a matter of, like you said, you're ready to jump off that bridge.
Yep.
I did that today with one of my clients. He's ready to jump off the bridge, and I just went over and we just sat down for an hour and we just BS'd and just got through that sticky part.
It's
it wasn't,
tremendous.
Sometimes you just need that, and you need to work through those things. So it's very important, that everybody has a mentor. You don't have to pay for them. Get somebody
Someone who's been
somewhat
successful in their business.
Somebody who's going to be honest with you.
Yep.
All
and
right.
he's been there and done it.
Been there and done it, but be honest with you.
Sure.
Not pull any punches. Not sit there and go, oh, well, Patrick, you're the greatest guy. Everything's going to work out for you, and we're going to have a sunny day. Right.
How do people get in touch with you?
How do people get in touch with me?
What's your number?
Well, my number is 631-721-4347. All right, and that's CBMS Consulting Services. And my website is cbms.co. No M at the end.
Leave the
So
M
if you
off.
need some help in your business as well, we might as well
Might as well. Thank you, Norman.
We'll
I
do
appreciate
this.
that. Yeah.
You know, then you got to give Darren a call because I've seen him in operation. I've seen him lecture giving little speeches to businesses and helping them grow. And he's the guy that you really want to talk to.
I appreciate
We'll
it.
save me for later.
We'll save you. We'll save you. Yeah.
Closing credits.
He's going to get on top of the table and do a little show for
No,
us.
I'm not.
Little Rod Stewart.
Little Rod Stewart.
Yeah, baby.
But, you know, it all ties in, right? You're successful because you're doing all of these things. You have that person, you know that, okay, I'm not good at this part of the business, and I have somebody who's
You
good
got to
at
realize
it.
what you're good at and what you're not.
And you bring some, right? So we strengthen our strengths and get somebody to help us with our weaknesses.
What's the hottest thing now in IT when you're doing a website or you're doing an app? You mentioned about some things that you need to do.
Sure.
But what are some things that you don't have to do like you should do? Like you had mentioned something to me last week.
I
or the week
got a better
before
question.
about Facebook pixels.
I got a better question for you. Got a brand new business right out of the box, just starting, come to you and says, I'm brand new.
Yep.
What do I do?
Well, so we do get a fair amount of those. And
What would you recommend to them now? You know, it's
just start with your Facebook page. You know, because typically, you know, someone will come and they're like, I want to start Google Plus, and I want to have Twitter, and I want to have Facebook.
Yeah, they want $1 million right away.
Well, it's not only that; it's really more of an issue of bandwidth than it is an issue of cost. So, you know, if you're starting out, you know, maybe you have some startup money, maybe you don't, maybe you have a great idea, maybe you're looking for some investing, but just start with your Facebook page because you can build a little community, and then when you're launching other products, whether it be a website, an app, or maybe you have some other technology that you're going to push out, you already have a community that you can start to market to. You know, people tend to want everything to be perfect and everything to launch at the same time. I would consider myself one of those people too. But, you know, typically between bandwidth and budget, you know, you want to have something where at least you can get some traction and some audience. So you can start with Facebook. You could start with Facebook ads. Norm just mentioned the Facebook Pixel,
Right.
where you're building code into your website, and then Facebook knows that somebody just visited your website, and now they're going to show your ad on their feed.
and that helps the demographics.
Well, it helps. Well, you could still pick demographics like you would if you were just simply going to boost an ad. But what this does is it has your ad in with other people's family stuff. So I'm going to see a picture from my brother, I'm going to see a picture from my sister-in-law, and then I'm going to see Friend
So
Entertainment.
I see that more and more now on Facebook. When I go to my Facebook page, I see, posts from friends, and then in between there's these ads.
Yep.
And it seems to be things that I've looked up on the internet.
Yep,
Absolutely,
Facebook knows
right.
everything.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's almost like they're reading my mind, or this one guy keeps popping up, and I'm like, enough already.
Yep.
I went and looked at you, and that's it.
You can hide those ads if you're the user, but as the business owner, you're marketing now to not someone who fits your demographics, but who's already visited your website.
Right.
So this is a huge boost
You got a
and
warm
an
lead.
advantage.
You're working a warm lead.
I would say it's even more towards the hot side. So, the Facebook Pixel, I would say, if you had your website, but just start with a Facebook page.
Just a simple,
Facebook page.
So somebody doesn't have to
not
come in
Facebook,
and go.
you mean website.
No, just even
And Facebook.
Yeah, I was thinking Facebook first, then website, and then depending on budget, maybe you could use an
What
app.
did the bandwidth mean? What does that mean when you say bandwidth? Is that what you buy? Bandwidth?
No, we use bandwidth in terms of I have 1,000 things I want to do tomorrow, but I'm only going to do 10 of them. So I have to figure out my priorities. What do I need to get done versus what do I want to get done? And sometimes when you're dealing with an entrepreneur, they may want to have this, want to have that, want to have the other thing,
And
but they
sometimes
really
they
need
focus-
to start
And they
with
focus on the wrong things.
Correct.
Right? And like you said, everybody I talk to is starting out a business right away. Oh, I got to get a website. So what you're saying is, because Facebook has that ability where you have your own personal Facebook page, because I have a personal Facebook page and I have my business Facebook page. And then off of that, I have business pages that are connected to my personal page.
the ones that you manage.
Right, are the ones that I manage, and we know that because you and I are doing the Business Power Hour one, and plus my consulting company, and then I have another one, and you can actually create groups and all kinds of things within Facebook, create a whole, like you said, a community
Yep.
that really surrounds your business without having to go with the expense of, getting a URL and creating a website and coming up with all the content and all of that stuff. You can do that right in Facebook.
Is that like a
and
group
it doesn't cost you anything.
that Facebook offers? When you're on, they have certain groups.
Well, you could start
Like
a group.
we talked
yeah,
about.
you could have like-minded people start a group
Right.
where I like the, LA Dodgers. I
But-
could join an LA Dodger group and chat back and forth.
My cousin who's a Met fan, I'm not a Met fan, we're Yankee fans. So my cousin who's a Met fan started a, we love the Mets even though group,
Yep.
right? That's really what the group is. And, so yeah, you can actually create these groups. It doesn't cost anything on Facebook. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah. So it's
That's what we're doing now with the concerts. We're putting the concerts in those groups.
Okay.
So letting people find out, and like we were talking about tribute groups and coming on, and
Right.
we created a tribute, Be on TV tribute
Gotcha.
band group.
I gotcha.
Yep. So, in the old days, you would carpet bomb. You just want to get your name out. You want to send flyers out. You want to do postcards.
Well, yeah,
it's
you
not
would-
like that anymore.
You would go and you would buy a mailing list.
Sure.
And
Yep.
it would have the phone numbers and the addresses and the email addresses and thousands of people. And like you said, it was a carpet bombing thing
Sure.
where it was like just throw it against the wall and let's see
Yep.
what sticks.
It was a real numbers game. But now
Right.
you're doing a numbers game with people who like your stuff, that are your
Mm-hmm.
demographic, that may likely purchase what you have to offer if the price is right and the service is correct. But you can really fine tune and find out who your customers are, and you can start all of that with Facebook. One of the
It's amazing how technology has come in the last 20 years.
it's crazy.
It's just when, like I was saying before, I was working back in '95. I was working for a company that the internet was just getting going. As a matter of
floppy
fact,
disks.
I still have one of the first Yahoo email addresses, and it's my first initial last name at yahoo.com.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
We're talking
that's how
about
far that goes back. It was
maybe doing
97
shows
I got that.
for churches, and I sent Patrick an email yesterday. I happen to have a domain name, Concerts for Unity. So I said, should I keep it? So yeah, we kept it.
Hey, $10.
Well, so I mean, I have my partner always says to me, what are we doing with all these URLs? And I have so many variations of
Sure.
URLs and stuff. Like when we started this show, I had,
a bunch.
I bought a whole bunch of them. We sat there and
Yeah.
we said, okay, which one are we going to use? And that's how we came up with the BPH.
Yep.
So we're getting a little bit late into the show. I think we only have about 5 or 6 minutes going on. So the time just goes.
Oh,
I mean, it like
Still another
flies.
3 hours.
If there were a couple of things that you wanted to say, notice I didn't say one.
Yep.
About TZ Design.
Sure.
That I'm that new person, or I'm thinking about changing or going to what would you talk about? What do you offer that? And everybody says they do the same thing, but you don't. I mean, I'm living it with you. I know that you're care. I mean, I would go and say that the fact that you care, not just about me, but about all your clients, is evident, and that's important to a business owner or someone that's looking for your services. What would you say?
Well, I appreciate that first, and I'm going to give big kudos to my mom and my grandmas and grandpas who, we were raised like that, the golden rule, and that's pretty much how whatever business I've had, that's really what we try to follow. I mean, we're not perfect like anyone else, but I could say every day we wake up and that's something we want to do. But I would say, one of the big things is the guys who work in the office, my engineers, the techie guys, they eat, breathe, and love this stuff. No one's doing this.
Like Diego. He's my man.
He is learning, and they want to learn, and we talk about software when we're done working. Did you see this new app? Did you see this? Did you see this online?
Nobody's there to collect a paycheck.
Correct. So everyone works overtime. Everyone will work late into the hours the hours of the night if we have to get something done tomorrow. So I'm very blessed with that, with my team. And again, Jennifer being a big part of that. She stays on top of the guys to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to. But the fact that we care tremendously about our clients' success, We care about the technology. You know, I could share this with you guys and the rest of online world. You know, I'll go to the beach with Jennifer, and she's going to bring, you know, Vogue magazine, and I have a manual this big. You know, she's like, "Are you taking this thing to the beach?" She's like, "It's a coffee table." I'm like, you know, I'm going to relax. I want to learn how to put my Mac, take it apart, and put it back together again. And all of the guys that work for me are like that. So
He said to me,
fantastic.
says, I'm going to disappear for the weekend. I'm taking a couple of days. This was July 4th week. I'm taking a couple of days, whatever. I said, fine, you deserve it and enjoy yourself. I got a phone call on the 4th. I said, I thought you're not working today. No, I gotta ask you this. But that's impressive to me.
That is.
That's impressive
Well,
to me.
that goes to show he cares about what he's doing. He's making sure everybody gets what they're supposed to get. So, you know, Patrick, you've been a wonderful guest. I mean,
thank
just a
you, guys.
fantastic
Is there anything
guest.
you want to say? I mean, let's give your phone number again.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
if anyone's interested with help with an app, a website, maybe they need, maybe they even have a current website and they just need some tips. Phone number is 631-747-3646. 631-747-3646. You know, we'd be happy to take, you know, 15, 20 minutes. We could look over your URL. We could even do a little report to see if there's anything missing. And I don't even say it judging other website people or other people who do this. There's just so much stuff now. You know, when I started doing this 6, 7, 8 years ago, the website's full time, you know, maybe I had a checklist of 120 things that I wanted to make sure were done on every site, whether it was a little one-pager or, you know, a big site. You know, now that checklist is 750 things.
Yeah.
And each of us, literally in the office, Neil checks the SEO, and he's got 120 things that he's going to check. Diego has stuff he's going to check. I'm going to check the overall project to make sure everything's being done. So there's just so many moving parts now where, you know, even some of our older sites, we treat them, you know, maybe 2 or 3 years have gone by. We do a whole evaluation for them as if they were a new client because things have changed, you know, in 36 months.
Right.
So it's nobody's fault. It's just technology moves so fast that you want to stay ahead of the game.
And that's the thing. Everybody should understand. There's a lot more to all of this stuff than we realize. It's not a matter of opening up your phone and just hitting a button and everything is done for you. A lot of work goes into it. A lot of time goes into it. It took us time to get our website up because it had to be right.
Yep.
And Patrick and his team did a fantastic job for us. And
really
Jennifer,
did.
thank you, Jennifer.
Oh,
Because I
thank
know
you.
without Jennifer, it wouldn't have got done, right?
Exactly.
That's
I wouldn't have been here.
So that's it. So I guess that comes to it. Do you have any events or anything anything special that you're doing that you want to give a shout out for, or
You know, I'm just
mom's
gonna,
birthday or something?
I'm going to give a shout out to Saturate New York. You know, that's the big thing that we have going on in the city. And our Saturate USA is a program that we're actually trying to bring, you know, God back to each individual home throughout the United States over the next 3 years.
Good thing. Good
Fantastic.
thing.
Thanks,
How about
guys.
you? Anything?
You know me. I always
I know
got
you,
things
but
going
they don't
on.
know
So,
you, so.
you know, as I just disclosed tonight, Patrick and I are going to be working on an app for me. But I think we're going to be working on an app for the show also. I think we need one for the
I think we do. You're doing something special tonight too, aren't you? You're going
Actually,
someplace
yes.
from here?
Yes, actually, I am assuming command of New York 207 Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol.
Is that because you're a
So-
lieutenant colonel?
It's not because I'm a lieutenant
But
colonel.
you happen to be a
I happen to be a
lieutenant
lieutenant colonel. You know, I was asked to take over command because and as you know, John, the outgoing commander, his time is up. You know, we got 4-year terms, and yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have some fun. We're definitely going to have some fun. You know, so how about you? What's going on? I see you posting a lot of new shows and things like that.
Yeah,
so
he's going to not like this.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's a couple more coming. By the way, I found something very interesting today on the ticket service that I use because I was on the phone with them today, which we'll talk about afterwards. But really, business is okay. Well, a lot of charities that are signing up, a lot of new charities. We just got a new one. I can't mention the name yet until I sign the contract. But they're involved in child abuse and battered women. And we're going to really help them because they need some help, and the kids and the women need a lot of help. And that's what Friend Entertainment is all about. You know, I sit here with a big mouth and I carry on, but we've been doing this for 30 years in helping charities raise much needed funds and
Very important.
from people that they don't know because they don't know about the charity. So that's what our business is. It's marketing and branding.
How do they get in touch with you to help the charities?
They go on my Facebook page, or they go on my website page, which is friendentusa.com, or they can call me at 631-698-9696. And again, we're happy to talk to everybody and just guide you in the right way and what it needs to do. And on that note, I guess we can say goodnight.
We can say goodnight. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. You guys have a great week.
And to Stevie, thanks for running the board, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Good job.
Good job tonight.
All right, so we'll see.
right.
By the way, next week we have somebody who claims to be a Facebook expert. So tune in next week and we'll find out if he really is. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Today's show is brought to you by Friend Entertainment USA, producing the best concerts for charities and corporations for over 30 years. And CBMS Consulting Services. Control your business before it controls you. In association with Area 22 Productions, your multimedia streaming network. If you're interested in being a guest on our show, visit our website at www.bphdmm.com for more information.